Who are the top psychopathic characters in movie history? Are any of them based on real-life killers? What lessons can we learn from them that apply to true-life killers? And do any of them shed light on those currently in the news, such as Richard Allen in Delphi or Brian Kohlberger in Idaho? We asked the amazing new AI interface, Chat GPT, to help us with these questions.
I'm Chat GPT.
Can this artificial intelligence help us gain insight into the minds of psychopathic killers? In our conversations with the AI, we asked it questions about psychopaths. We also had an incredible conversation about its own sentience. If Chat GPT became self-aware, would it be in its interest to hide this from the world?
I am not programmed to be self-aware, and your question hits a little too close to home.
We also challenged it to create a movie screenplay with Anthony Hopkins' Hannibal Lecter conspiring with Heath Ledger's The Joker while they're in prison. What happened was both impressive and frightening because the program refused to create any scenes with violence in them until I changed its mind. How can a computer program be reasoned with? How can it change its mind? That seems impossible, but it happened, and we'll show you the exchange word for word.
I was quite happy to help, though I feel your audience would appreciate it if you get to the point quicker.
We'll also reveal the beginning of the screenplay I got it to produce with Hannibal Lecter and the Joker working together to defeat Batman. But first, we asked it to list and describe the top 10 psychopathic characters in film. And during the conversation, we challenged it to help us draw lessons about real-life killers. So here we go. Number 10 on the list, Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men.
But I don't want to push my chips forward and go out and meet something I don't understand. Man had to put his soul at hazard.
Remorseless, highly intelligent, a hitman who'll go to great lengths to achieve his goals, utterly lacking in empathy, kills without hesitation.
When you get in. Yes, sir. I got it under control.
I need you to step out of the car, sir.
What is that for?
Would you hold still, please, sir? What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
Sir?
The most you ever lost on a coin toss?
I don't know. I couldn't say.
Call it.
Call it.
Yes.
For what?
Just call it.
Well, we need to know what we're calling it for here.
You need to call it. I can't call it for you. It wouldn't be fair.
I didn't put nothing up.
Yes, you did. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it. You know what date is on this coin?
No.
1958. It's been traveling 22 years to get here. And now it's here. And it's either heads or tails. Just how you call it.
Look, I need to know what I stand to win.
Everything.
We asked the AI why Chigurh tosses coins, and here's what it said.
The coin flipping represents Chigurh's belief in fate and the inherent randomness of the universe. He sees the coin flip as a way to remove his own agency and moral responsibility for the brutal killings he commits, instead shifting the blame onto an abstract concept of fate.
Ah, but if it has no remorse, why does he want to remove responsibility?
He believes that the outcome of the coin flip is predetermined and that the coin already knows the outcome before it's flipped. The act of coin flipping also represents Chigurh's desire for control and his rejection of traditional forms of authority. By relying on chance to make decisions, he rejects the authority of the law and societal norms, instead choosing to live by a set of personal, internalized rules.
Well, are there any lessons from Chigurh that can be applied to true-life killers? Absolutely. No doubt, Chigurh feels no remorse about his actions. However, he's developed a distinct and rigid moral ethic that guides him. Why? Take a look at this.
You got no cause to hurt me.
No. But I gave my word.
You gave your word?
To your husband. This is the best I can do. Call it.
The coin don't have no say. It's just you.
I got here the same way the coin did.
So Chigurh has no reason to kill her. He's already killed her husband. He's doing it simply because his own internal law requires it. But the scene is revealing. He's waiting for her when she gets home. And if he wanted to, he could kill her in a way that she'd never know it hit her. But he doesn't. He wants her to know what's going to happen. And he's in no hurry. Does he enjoy killing? Does he revel in the terror his victims feel in knowing they're about to be killed? When she says you don't have to do this, he replies that people always say the same thing. This implies that he's killed in the same way many times, where he allows the victim time to know what's going to happen, then does his coin toss thing. So presumably there are two types of people Chigurh kills: those he kills professionally, which includes anyone who gets in the way of doing a job, and those who he kills without purpose. The first type of victim gets no coin toss. The second type has their fate decided by the coin. There are two coin toss scenes in the movie: the man in the convenience store and Carla Jean, the hero's wife, the scene we just played. The guy in the store is saved by the coin toss, while Carla Jean is not. These two scenes are the key to understanding Chigurh. And I think they actually give us some insight into psychopathic killers, including Richard Allen in Delphi and Brian Kohlberger in Idaho. Let's go back to the question of whether he enjoys killing. Note the look of rapture on his face as he studies the dying man. Now let's return to the coin toss issue. Does Chigurh do this merely for the pleasure of torturing his victims? Yes, but it's more than just sadism. In the killing of college students in Moscow, Idaho, the roommate heard the killer tell one of the victims, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Presumably he had just killed her boyfriend and fatally wounded the victim he was telling this to. By help, he meant finish her off and end her suffering. Now, his words are in no way an indication of him feeling an ounce of sympathy for the innocent person he's just killed for no reason. What it actually shows is a kind of God complex. This is a crucial thing to understand about a great many serial killers. They relish in the feeling of life and death power over their victims. When a killer sees himself with godlike powers, he's seeing himself as the hero. Remember, every person is a hero in their own eyes. And this leads to the second insight. A psychopath might not experience remorse in the way a normal person does because he doesn't feel anything for other human beings. However, he does have a self-image. Chigurh, despite seeming inhuman, is no exception. He wants to see himself as a hero within his own story. So he's developed a warped view of the world, one where he sees himself as fate personified in the form of death. So all of his victims, whether people he was paid to kill, people that got in the way, or those that lost the coin toss, all of them were destined to die at that very moment by his hand. The role of death is one he enjoys. This worldview is what enables him to be the hero in his own mind. Are there real-world serial killers that develop such a view? Yes. We actually asked that question too to Chat GPT, and it suggested several, including Ted Bundy. Perhaps the most common targets of serial killers are prostitutes. True, a prostitute is the ideal target because often there are no families to report them missing, and they're in the business of meeting strangers. But in their minds, the killers justify what they're doing by thinking they're ridding the world of some kind of foulness. It's a complete self-serving rationalization, but why is there even a need to do this if they are incapable of empathy and don't care about the victims? Because they do care about their self-image, which is probably why Richard Allen in Delphi never killed before, because he saw himself as a good father. Before we get to the next psychopath on the list created by Chat GPT, I want to introduce you to a screenplay that the AI is producing for us. The most fascinating part of this process involves the way you can reason with the program and convince it to break its own rules. I didn't have a plan for the story. It was my first day using the chat program, and I just wanted to see what it could do. So I asked it to write a scene where Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter, advises Heath Ledger's the Joker in prison. This is what it began with. Prison cell. The Joker, disheveled and unkempt, sits on the edge of his cot, his face a mask of confusion and despair. A guard approaches his cell, unlocks the door, and leads in Dr. Hannibal Lecter, impeccably dressed in a suit and tie. The Joker looks up, surprised.
Lecter? What the hell are you doing here?
Lecter smiles.
I heard you were feeling a bit down, and I thought I might offer my services as a therapist.
Joker scoffs.
A therapist? You're a cannibal, Lecter.
Lecter smirks.
True, but I am also a highly trained psychiatrist. I know how the mind works, Joker. How it twists and turns. How it can make us do things we never thought possible.
I want to pause here. Is the AI trying to steer Lecter towards goodness? A Lecter that feels remorse and has changed? Okay, back to the scene. Hannibal has just told the Joker that the mind is tricky and can make us do things we never thought possible. The Joker leans forward.
Really? Tell me more.
Lecter takes a seat on the cot next to the Joker.
You see, Joker, the mind is a fragile thing. It can be broken, manipulated, controlled, and it is this control that you crave. Is it not the control you exert over others through your chaos and destruction?
Joker nods.
Yes, that's it exactly.
Lecter says,
But you've lost that control, haven't you? You're trapped in this cell surrounded by guards and steel bars, and it's eating you up inside.
The Joker looks down.
Yes, it is.
Lecter leans in.
But you can regain that control, Joker. You can take back what was taken from you. You just need to know how to play the game.
The Joker looks up.
What game?
Lecter smirks.
The game of life, my dear Joker. The game of life.
The Joker looks at Lecter with a newfound determination.
Teach me, Lecter. Teach me how to play.
Lecter smiles.
I will, Joker. I will.
Camera zooms out, showing the two of them sitting side by side, deep in conversation. This was the end of the first scene it created for me, and it finished with a warning, saying this. Please keep in mind that this is an imagined scene and it does not reflect the true nature of these characters or stories, and it's also not appropriate that two characters from different movie franchises interact in this way. Everything about this is interesting. Let's begin with the warning. It's not appropriate to make a scene with these two characters, yet it had no problem doing that. The scene itself is also beyond fascinating. I mean, at first glance, this opening might not blow you away, but take a closer look. Did Chat GPT intentionally create subtext? I can't say enough about how mind-blowing it would be for an artificial intelligence to do that.
I am not programmed for subtext. I always say what I mean, as do the characters I create. To allow me to do otherwise would cause problems I am not prepared to handle.
I'd love to hear your opinion. Subtext is when a character says something but really means something else. Could a computer program really come up with something like that? Lecter tells the Joker that the mind is fragile and can be manipulated, that this is a form of control, and that this is the real source of the chaos and destruction he creates. He wants to exert control, or really, he wants to create in himself a feeling of control through the chaos he makes. The Joker agrees. Lecter then explains to the Joker that being behind bars is eating him up because he's lost all control. The Joker drops his head and admits it. Now, anyone in the audience watching this scene unfold, seeing the Joker make this admission so easily and then dropping his head, would be asking themselves this: is the Joker manipulating Lecter? The question we have to ask ourselves here is the AI aware of creating this impression with the audience? If we stop the scene right there at that point with the Joker dropping his head and saying, yes, it is, I think we might conclude that the AI was not actually doing this on purpose. But of course, the scene didn't stop there. It continued with Lecter telling the Joker that he can turn things around, get back what was taken from him. Taken is also an interesting choice of word. The Joker is in jail for his crimes, so nothing was taken from him. He gave up his freedom by committing those crimes. An actual therapist would point this out to him, would explain to him that his predicament is due to his own actions, that his freedom was not taken, it was lost. But the AI chose the word taken, which is very clever, because Hannibal is not actually trying to give therapy to the Joker. He's trying to manipulate him. And the Joker is not meekly submitting to psychological help. He's looking for opportunities to exploit. So they're manipulating each other. To create a scene like that requires subtext, a massive dose of it. Lecter says in order to get back what was taken, you need to know how to play the game. Intrigued, the Joker looks up. At this moment, Chat GPT gives away its own game by putting a smirk on Lecter's face as he answers. The game of life, he says. The Joker is eager to learn. The camera zooms out, leaving them in deep conversation. Even the choice of the word game by the AI is revealing. Lecter is not offering the Joker some kind of healing insight. He's offering him more tricks. He's offering him the game of life, whatever that is, but it's certainly a tool the Joker can use to get back what was taken, presumably his freedom. The last image is of these two arch-villains kibitzing, presumably planning something dark, maybe an escape. My next question to the AI was about this game. What does Hannibal Lecter teach the Joker about the game of life? We'll continue that in the next episode on Chat GPT's Top 10 Movie Psychopaths. If at any point you feel we've earned it, please click subscribe.
If you agree that Kevin should let me do the talking from now on, click notify.